I've never seen life through my family's eyes, but I wish I tried. It's heartbreaking having to see my mother and my sister cry. So busy keeping up on my disguise that it slipped my mind. I wish I could have told the truth instead of having to live a lie. Because I always wanted to get to know my brother more, but I started to open up just to shut the door. See, I always ran away, but what was I running for? Because deep down I wanted someone to love me more. It's hard to face the truth when there's no answer for your sins, and just to think I swam faster just to sink. Had a taste of failure, it was getting harder to drink. Who'd have known that disaster's on the brink? Because how can you have any regrets when you're never ready? Maybe I should have realized what was necessary. I guess we never know what we've got until we're dead and buried. Now I'm laid to rest and my soul trapped in the cemetery. So what if the weight on my shoulders isn't there? Hopeless in despair, I know this isn't fair. It isn't gone, I just passed it on. It's no excuse, but my heart was gone. Now I have to watch my sister clutching on the picture of me. My mum's lost her head, can't tell her to think any differently. My brother's trying to hold it together, but he's wondering if feel this hopeless forever. It's hit my girl the hardest because we were inseparable. I meant everything to her, she put me on the pedestal. They're carrying my weight, I hope they can cope with the pressure, because your life's only gold and it's treasure. I wish I knew that before I'd been through the war, just to say I never came out the other side of the door. Because now I'm laid to rest and my soul trapped in the cemetery. I guess we never know what we got until we're dead and buried.
Relax with a drink or two. It's been years and I want to catch up with you. Get lost in the night, I was drinking with blurry stars, empty promises, words exchanged with strangers in the dark. I was just smiling and laughing when drinking in those nights. But when morning comes, those issues were becoming a fight and I don't recognise her. The mask I was wearing when I look in the mirror, it was staring right back at me, the hurt, the anger and all the versions of upset. The venom that was swirling around in my bloodstream was exhausting. And suddenly fun was having a drink in both hands while feeling the loneliness in a crowd so full. The healing isn't healed, my drinks, they're getting spilt and my mind has officially left the room. Scars are starting to show and wounds are starting to open. I'm far too vulnerable for this and I don't know how to close them. I don't feel safe here. But please, I need to tell you what's going on. But now's not the time because it's Friday night and our favourite song has just come on. I guess it's dancing in pools of people for the next 5 minutes. With bitter taste in my veins, there really was no limit. Keep your head down, Millie, because you've already been hiding. You know the drink's gotten to you and those neon lights are too enticing. Attention shown from those with not so subtle stares. And it's starting to expose my shyness, I don't like this. Patterns are getting predictable, drinking is habitual. You haven't asked how I am behind those four walls, the crash, the fall. I don't expect to be asked at all, but I need to ask myself, how am I doing? Again, in front of the mirror with bloodshot eyes, my cheeks are sore from plastered smiles in the night. My eyes, they're getting teary. My mum, she holds me as we grieve on those fragile floors, those temporary nights that were erased. We're now talking about everything that went on before. It's amazing how different conversations go in the broad light of day. Over coffee, listening to the rawest forms of what each other have to say. These days, and for years now, nights have been clear and present, alert to people and taking in bigger lessons, allowing time frames in the day to unpack the boxes that were painful to open. Relax, with a drink or two, a hot chocolate or coffee for me each time. This is for me, I don't judge what you do, freeing the venom from my mind. So don't come bringing it to my table. You said recently, I miss when you used to drink. I don't think I have a response, but for conversation's sake, I'll carry it on. My versions are so much clearer now. So don't bring it to my table. My mind was a battlefield every waking day, going round in circles, so please, don't bring it to my table, unless it's a hot chocolate.
Yeah!
Yeah, you got 6 minutes. So.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, that was quite a vulnerable one for me. Wow. I think drinking, thank you. think drinking culture is it can be so pressurising. I'm in my 3rd year at university, and yeah, drinking culture, it's hard, it's definitely a discipline, and yeah, I'm forever grateful that I've made the decision not to have it in my life personally. Okay, in light of feeling quite vulnerable, I think I'll do another vulnerable one. So this is called Empty Park Benches, and it's about someone, I could give a bit of context, it's about someone who's not in my life anymore, and it's about imagining that you're seeing them like as you walk through a park, and you just imagine what it's like 10 years later, and if they'll even recognise you anymore. Need to breathe for this one. Okay. Sometimes I walk past empty park benches and imagine you sitting there, trying to figure out whether it's really me with a not so subtle stare. Your intensity was always present when you were in my life. Uninvited energy you bring, which was why we had to leave, abruptly. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that myself and my mum, we stayed for so long. Now months and years and minutes and hours are spent repairing all that went wrong. An energy so fickle, but I was only little, and still, you were what I knew the man of the house to be. 10 years later, and at times I fall back into habits of justifying your actions. But nothing will justify the discomfort we felt in your presence and me laughing just to fill the silence. You, emotionally stabbing violence, and me filtering things I would say. You setting boundaries on what we could play, and me accommodating that you are okay. My example and my display of male love day to day. Watching your interactions with my mum, I would say I pity the fact you thought that love should be this way. You showed me love should be a consistent guessing game, normality, I thought. Presently, I'm still unlearning these displays. I'm walking past those empty park benches. I don't think you'd recognise me, because the smile on my face is a picture that you never saw. I've heard it all, the stories after we left you. One said that you went down the drug route, but that doesn't sound like you. Maybe you changed. I've heard you checked out completely. I can only pray that you didn't go that way. Closure is for me and Mum to do, without the final conversation. Your lessons of dysfunction with the occasional fun was a childhood recipe for corruption. I now sit on those empty park benches, writing letters that you will never see. Blessed with company that is now around me, I wear the smile that you will never get to see.
Yeah.
I'll do another one.
It's your window. It's your window.
Okay. I'm thinking, is there one I can end on that's a bit lighter? But I don't even think. Yeah, I don't think I have many light ones. Do you know what? I'll leave it there.
You don't want to sing?
Sing.
Yeah, come on. She's got a voice.
Come on, it's birthday, baby. You need to sing.
Alright, just Can I use someone's phone for a track?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
to
go.
look on YouTube.
Yeah, cool. We can play it to the aux if you want.
YouTube?
Yeah, you can play it.
In fact, it's Nomadic. Is my phone there?
Yeah, yeah.
You can just use my phone if you want.
No, that's fine. I'll just play it through.
Oh, she's going to just play it through the microphone. That's fine.
Don't want to be. Don't want to get anyone else listening.
Yeah.
I'll do a verse and a chorus just for the sake of
Okay,
time.
cool. Alright. You got this.
I hope you guys can hear it with the plate through the phone.
Woo! Milli Rose! Come on.
I was sat on a pavement, patiently waiting and
Come on.
looking both ways. down, writing down all the things that I need to say. You are still on my mind, no regrets and no I wouldn't rewind. Now my bed that I've got to lie in this time. I didn't mean to make you cry while I was battling those demons of mine. You were there, you were by my side, holding my hand, but I hold my own, fighting it alone. Save those battles when I'm crying at home. Hope you can forgive me, promise I've grown, I've grown. And my mind is losing focus again, and I can't pretend I know my direction. Keep on smiling for my own protection. I finally recognize her again, and I quite like what I see. My mind wanders off, but it always comes back to me. I didn't mean to make you cry while I was battling those demons of mine. You were there, you were by my side, holding my hand, but I hold my own, fighting it alone. Say those battles when I'm crying at home. Hope you can forgive me, promise I've grown, I've grown. I've grown, I promise I've grown. I've grown, I promise I've grown. Thank you.
Lyrics that envision something vivid within a heart uplifted. Given what was gifted, moments made magnificent simply by being in your presence. In essence, these words describe how fond of your fragrance I am. Just trying to understand where I overstand, lost in the picture of holding your hand.
You're gonna make me cry,
No. That's Lantern Carry. That's Lantern Carry. This next one is called So Many Words. So many words, but so little to say. So many routes, but which one to take when every way leads away? A feeling felt out of place, a face that tried to be saved, a name lost in yesterday. A mind gone astray, reason to pray, a reason to stay, to pre-pass the gate, masked away. Master keys for a masquerade, turned into a game of charades. From the lessons never gained, but the weight still weighed. In a place filled with pain, a page that never saved, a plague that raged for days. In a maze that never changed, in a state of disarray. Lost in disdain and disdain, but still, so many words, but so little to say.
Woo!
All the pieces I'm going to be reading are very short, because to me, I like the short ones. Meta put me on game. You told me your short pieces to get to the point.
Yeah.
So this one is called The Wave of What Was. Because I'll give some context. Every time we think of things in the past, sometimes we lose where we currently are. So it's like you kind of lose your sense of direction or understanding of self when you're always looking in either direction, backwards or forwards. So what was, will be, and what will be, we'll never know.
Come on. Come on.
My G. This is the wave of what was. There are known knowns. There are also unknown knowns.
Ooh, I love that.
But there are also unknown unknowns. Each have their own place within their own homes. Some are close but distant. And in the distance, the pace defines the leg of a race where the earth starts to shake. That's when souls quake to alleviate before they raise. Like when temperatures rise higher than the levels of the tides of waves that breathe new dawns from the light refracted on the surface of each drop of water, reflecting oceans of emotions, seas of sorrows, and rivers of joy. Moments make mirrors of matter to echo within the chambers. Caw, caw, caw.
Say that again. Say it again.
Moments make mirrors of matter to echo within the chambers of life. Caw, caw, caw. Lighting embers of hope, a kindle and a means for more. As words are a medium, aka a tool, the voice is an instrument which is used to emphasize emotion, creating deeper connections. The physical form is a conduit to convey intentions, and intentions are thoughts affirmed in sincerity. Perspective is a funny thing. Changing depending how you see things, changing just like the days, fading to the memory of when, but one thing remains constant and true. Life starts with breath and ends with breath. Each moment adds the breadth of the mark of each test, lived in concurrent success. This is going to be the last one for me. It's called In All of It. So at the end of the day, what in all of it? I don't know. In pain, we find peace. And in pleasure, we find release. With hard times come ease. Same words on repeat. In pain, we find peace. And in pleasure, we find release. With hard times come ease. Same words on repeat. No need to be passive when the trail paves its own atlas, a map to the path attracted, a balance for the fraction that broke parts into fragments as each action holds a reaction. So, within my mind is a place, and within my heart is a pain that courses and flows through my veins, and of course, it lingers as it stays, circumventing the navigation my brain tries to take as receptors of a stimuli. Simply said, the things that weigh on my heart play heavy on my head. Is there enough time? Is there enough time to make more of this thing called life? Is there a chance I can fulfill my why to give in ways that give meaning to life? For in pain, we find peace. And in pleasure, we find release. With hard times come ease. Same words on repeat.
Come.
In pain, we find peace. And in pleasure, we find release. With hard times come ease. Same words on repeat.
I'm new here. I've met a few of you and you've all been very nice, so I'm really happy to be here today. This also feels very intimate, so I'm a bit nervous.
You got this.
I appreciate that. So I've noticed a trend in my poetry that it's usually more on the depressing side. And so in these two poems, I guess I tried to introduce some hope into that sadness. And yeah, I hope it'll make you feel something. This first one doesn't really have a name yet, so if you guys want to give me a name at the end of it, maybe. You tell me that you don't really get sad. That you're sometimes inclined to, but in those moments you find shelter. Not in the people around you, but in your thoughts of them. In laughters floating away from their lips and belonging to your own. In mannerisms that you trace in ink on the back of your palms, turned masterpieces into skin, reasons to wake up in the morning, reminders of being needed, a safety blanket made out of sunshine, if you will. I imagine that you float on memories of being reminded by those you call your own, remembered by those you call your own. In that moment, I want to tell you that I understand. I do, but only in the sense that I don't really get happy. I'm sometimes inclined to, but in those moments, I find shelter. Not in reality, but in the different kinds of sadnesses that I've composed over the years, like notes on a sheet of classical music that always lasts a bit too long. See, I have a gift for making up languages that no one's really ever asked for, and they all speak only of melancholy and the ways it has manifested itself inside of this body. But I'd also tell you how in those 613 different kinds of sadnesses, there's one for each person that I love and each that I've lost. For each person that I love and each that I've lost. And and I trace them in ink on the back of my palms just as you. My skin is a mosaic of all of the times that I've managed to turn their burdens into music, relieving them of the weight so heavy on their shoulders. And I find comfort in how much of my laughter belongs to their lips, and how much of my memories are of their remembrance. I know that my heart holds more than 50 shades of gray, and I see how that's a problem to an extent, but it's also the very same reason that I see light in the way that I do in all of its glory. It's the same reason why as I stand here, the spotlight pointing to the stage is merely a shadow compared to all of the light that I see shining in this room. As I walk off of here, I have discovered a whole new array of ways in which this body can feel alive, and I have found it in every single one of you. See, maybe in that way we're inclined towards one another, and we can borrow from each other's safety blankets. And maybe find comfort in the fact that all of these parts of us, they're never really truly only our own. They also belong to one another, and in that way, we're not ever alone in the burdens that we carry. Thank you. Thanks for the support and being patient with me.
You've got 5 minutes if you want to share another poem, or if you want to share your socials.
I'll try to do another one and not forget my lines. Also, happy birthday again. Okay, this one is called Always. We're in the middle of discussing nevers when you tell me how much you hate the idea of what could have been. I ask you why, and you say because it was possible. And we chose to make it possible no more. I smile, because as I look into your angry green eyes, I remember the day you said, I love you always. I remember the way my whole body straightened and put up its armor as it heard the most temporary word ever created to name permanence, to name forevers, always. The sun will always rise. The grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. I am always right. And the world is always spinning. But what people don't seem to understand about the word always is that one will only mean it until they're proven wrong. Until, oh, the apocalypse did happen, or, oh, this fertilizer works miracles, or, oh, I stand corrected. And the best one of them all, oh, I don't love you anymore. And that was the day the world stopped spinning. See, it's funny, they say never say never. But if that's the road to an always of disappointments, then I'd rather walk a path of maybes, of almost, of what could have been. Because being promised a temporary forever, to be left with nothing but a permanent loss, that is too painful of a life to live. Or so I thought. So I thought in that 1 minute there that I was so angry at you that I wanted to take away your glasses and watch you walk blindly into poles or trees or other similarly painful objects that would injure you without, being completely fatal. But, see, I stand corrected. I don't want to turn this poem into a cheesy mess. I'm already so full of crackers myself, but it's in those cheesy temporary forevers that I discovered the version of myself that I love the most. And I know now that I would have never discovered or found my own permanence if it wasn't for you. So I guess all I'm trying to say here is Justin Bieber might have had a point. And also, I'll stick around at the end of the show if anyone needs any fertilizer recommendations. Thank you very much.
So I've got one piece that I wrote on the way here.
New shit.
Yeah, and this is actually my first open mic. I've done a lot of writing. And then my second piece is from a play that I've been working on for a little while.
We like that, we like that.
Yeah, cool. And none of them have names, I don't name them, but yeah. Let's stay up late, past the curfews and lights out. Let's tease the sparks and hold desire in our palms just to watch it burn, just to feel its warmth. My hands have held many hearts, pulsing, beating, bleeding. Let me read your birth chart. Let's rise with the fall and drift when we stall. Let's just stay up late, tempting fate, tying souls like strawberry laces, gently, delicately. I'll wrap my fingertips around the roots in your rivers. See, let's sweat in the snow and shiver under the sun. Let's contradict each other and ourselves in that order. Let's stay up late. Hey, stay awake. Let's fight and fail and try again. Let me borrow your God. Let him hear me out. Lend me holy ears. Let's get lost in translation and speak through knotted tongues. Let's not fall in love, but rise up to it. For it. And on the way up, let's fly too close to the sun and forget we're flammable. Because the sun rises in flames, on flames. So let's just stay up late till it's too late. And yeah, this second one was from a play that I've been working on called Hummingbirds. That's all I'll say. Sometimes we have to remind you of where we came from. See, in the glorious Commonwealth, there's never been nothing common about the wealth. We don't have cultural anchors to root us into the depths of our own oceans, because our ancestors' tsunamis would only ever feel like ripples to us. But instead of diving, we've spent eternities floating on salty dreams, imagining if only the sea could be sweet. We grew up in a cultural void. Our homes, our words, our turns overturned. Our songs are missing their harmonies. Our history is destroyed in brutality. See, our mother tongue was cut out before it could even wrap itself around a single vowel. Ancestral melodies, they don't reach our ears. The abundance of which we have not yet seen, could not see, fill our eyes with waterfalls in a standoff with gravity. They cannot express themselves in the way they were meant to be. They cannot carry the emotions intended. See, the hummingbird is a bird of migration, flying miles with immense preparation, small but mighty the minority be. Ambitious in our flight, but will you ever see? Small but mighty we minorities be. Ambitious in our fight, but will you ever see? Thank you.
This is a new piece.
New shit.
New shit, yeah, all that. This is called You're My Sweet Addiction.
Sweet one.
If you're the sweet, let me be the rapper. If you're the meat, let me be the matter. If you're the conversation, can I be the chatter? And if you're the highest of heights, then let me get my ladder. If you're the light, let me be your lampshade. If you're the right, let me steer you the wrong way. If you're the addict, let me be your needle. And if you're the dung, let me be your beetle.
Yay! Say that again. Say it again.
If you're the addict, let me be your needle. If you're the dung, let me be your beetle. If you're the scar, let me be your tissue. And if you're the ocean, then the boat I'll give you.
Hey.
If you're the pillow, I'll be your wall. If you're the joker, then I'll be your fool. If you're a Game Boy, I'll be your cartridge. And if you're a pear, then I'll be your partridge.
Yeah. Jeez.
You're like heroin, you're my sweet addiction. You're my pharmacy, my abundance of prescription. Can it be the same? Do you feel the way? Tell me the truth, tell me what to do. Are we really in love, or am I just writing another poem about you? Thank you. This next one's an oldie but goldie.
Yeah.
This is about domestic violence and domestic relationships, so I'm sorry if it triggers anyone, but this is about how someone really does possess you to be a person that you don't want to be. And being in these toxic relationships, it's hard to escape, but life's too short and you're better than that, you know? This is the poet's confession. Pleaded not guilty by virtue of demonic possession. Paranormal ghosts set the scene. She kept a private affair close in her humble confession, considering they were so clean. Not guilty by way of possession. It was a one-horse town interior. Church bells tolled in season, and in view of myself, I was inferior. See, pitiful cries delivers pitiful nights, sending the ghost insane. Screeching the wise and claiming the blind, they leave the known to plain. Not guilty by way of possession. I saw the crime itself. Not guilty by way of possession. The puppet of angels and elves. Thank you. Silky smooth magnets that we can never resist. I adore and devour this experience, time seasoned with bliss. This feeling we encounter, often though we escape, I now find myself grounded to a foundation with a lilac glaze. You remind me of green and yellow, them summer days, the first sip, the sight of home after a strenuous day. Spring yawning in May, let's try to remain. So will you be my Valentine on every single day? Arise in flame, your stupendous name. Let's calibrate our skin together, then no longer for unity do we need pray. What a feeling of luck. What is this feeling of touch? This feeling forever may it stay. This feeling makes my heart elevate. This sensation has connection aligned as a subtle hue. This sensation creates spiritual connections deeper within me and you. This storm is one in which I see the beauty within the dust. This tornado inducing sensation of touch. I've been JC.C. Thank you very much.
This is something new I'm testing out. See how it goes.
New shit.
Oh, the colors of rain have changed, and nothing is the same. Monochrome empathy. You're a grey cloud that makes me shiver. You don't want to know if I'm okay, you just want to fill the space. I slip as you wrap up my world into a slow burn between your fingers. And as you blow the smoke of me, the ghost of me, I hope you don't roll another one. What happened to that smile that one summer took? Your freckles, icicles. That's why our last kiss hurt. Your laughter used to send me rolling down hills, but now I'm at the bottom with bruises that will never heal. I am a fool that worships dead flowers, still thinking it will grow. You're the urn I'm trying to bring alive, but inside you it's ashes and ashes and ashes of gaslit, dead deception. You tried my heart with wines. That's why it's so hard to leave. How do you kill what once was? How do I see the colors of rain again? This is our next poem called When Friends Leave. Riding this train, I created passengers out of ink with traces of faces I used to know. I named each passenger with an amalgamation of names that used to roll serotonin off my tongue whenever I called out to them. Names once repeated are difficult to forget, especially over drinks. Especially when you made my shoulder wet. When I gave from a place which I thought was empty. When I pulled my spine into a bridge for you to walk across, not walk away from me. Digital ghosts on my birthday, I can't eat this cake alone. But with a candle I can wish, and boy did I dream of turning passengers of ink into real friends that never leave. Sure about this one.
Take as long as you need, but we're here for your words.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Sorry, when I write, I like to keep the left side of the paper blank.
What's that again?
When I write, I like to keep the left side of the paper blank.
Oh, fine.
Maybe to leave space to get to know myself better. Maybe to chase the ugly green paper. Maybe to survive. Maybe to leave unanswered questions unasked. Maybe to breathe. But you see, writing is the right side of me. I don't understand myself at all. The left side, everybody left. Blank expressions as you walk through me. Paper-thin promises. Nothing like the ones I soak in ink. Friendships flimsy. Carrot queen bosses dangling false hope. But as you say, the contract is unwritten. I reply, the extra rolls is unforgiven. Paper empty, eyes heavy. The rich have the ability to be tired, and that's the liberty I wish I could afford. You smear your affluent face on the front cover, leaving all the pages for us to write just to survive. But hey, I'm not tired. I just got to write my own somehow, in time. Cheers.
This first piece is called Turf Wars, and I had the honour of performing this for the Big Queer Poetry Show. Trans and non-binary people are facing a lot of hate, and it's absolutely fucking vile, and it's now turning into a society existing in which kids are killing kids because of the attitudes of adults. So this is about that.
You got it.
I've got an agenda.
I want boys to see boys holding hands with boys and girls to be saved with their own intentions. This is not a point for contention, nor are we screaming for the sake of attention. They want to eliminate us, obliterate us, decimate our numbers and kill us off, but our identities are not disease, and we will not give in to the poison they spread as they scream that the true poison of society is found in beds in which husbands love their husbands and wives lie with their wives. I want same-sex parenting to be accepted as a part of life, not a call for homosexual intention, so let me be your demon if you must. But let them love and be loved. Until love is awarded universal rights, stand and fight side by side with us. Love us. Love each other and show children scenes of what true love can be. For us, you too can take the knee. But we have all learned that equality and equity do not come peacefully. And we fought for you. So why won't you fight for me? I will drop these loud truths with dignity as I continue to fight against the oppression of our people, yet still we must fight this hypocrisy. I have got an agenda. I want gender to be accepted as more than one or the other. I want sex and sexuality to be seen as two separate things, and I want bigots to understand that a man who loves men is no more likely to want to fuck your kids than you are. Yes! I want society to let kids be kids and stop sexualising them, weaponising them, idolising them in dolled up forms, training them to conform to gendered norms. I want kids to stop being defined by what they look like naked. I want kids to stop being called future heartbreakers. I want my trans brothers and sisters to stop being demonised because there is no LGB without them being weaponised. I have got an agenda to break the same Western lies which have society swallowing regurgitated propaganda, idealised and more seeking segregation, blaming us for trending nuclear separation. You don't want my kind around your kids. This isn't the first time that history books have seen this. You may be hitting your heads against brick walls, but we riot with stone for the right to be accepted in our homes without being expected to hide our lives in them. Rosa Parks took her seat on the bus. And Marsha P. Johnson fought for us, even if we weren't all like her, she still loved. Till she was thrown from the very stone walls upon which she fought our side, her death documented as suicide. So do not facilitate the lie and tell me that your discrimination is different, just because it pours from your lips to drown us instead of her. And do not shrug off blame, telling me that in this game sometimes we must accept our fates and that I can't save everyone, because I will try. I will stand and I will fight. I will march and I will bring light to the darkest of places. I will bring joy and smiles to children's faces. I will stamp on words like tranny, faggot and dyke while still reaching out a hand to hold those who have said them, because change is here. Hate we will displace and replace with love. And my love is the same as your love when prejudice is dropped, so drop them and march with me to save them. If your feminism isn't intersectional, I don't want it at all, so show me where your alliances lie, because the LGB alliance is a lie. We are not their land to colonise, and we do not want this war. We have been forced to defend our right to coexist with you, our right to live life at full volume as you two move through life unmuted. In simply living and loving, we have been forced to justify the love we find. I tell you again, the LGB alliance is a lie. After trans men and women, who is next? Because biphobia is still well and truly alive, and as lesbians and gays from them, we cannot simply be divided. Trans people and trans rights are being attacked. It's a fact. By the same government institutions who remove reproductive rights and hate blacks, who dodge tax to crack whips, who institutionalise our kids, and if it's not to the letter by the cis-man system, they'll claim it's off-grid. After trans men and women, Who's next? Let's rewrite this binary system without getting fucked over by it. This is a revolution for love. So I say, let boys see boys holding hands with boys. Make an effort with pronouns. Accept us all, open arms, those of us who seek no harm, but who look to live life as you do. One day, with our own loves, without targets on our backs, without increased levels of suicide, living in a world free from LGBTQ plus genocide, side by side, and without prejudice. Thank you. As a queer, non-binary, single parent is fun, especially when, so my culture, I'm Turkish Cypriot, but also the father of my children, his culture, his background is that he's Pakistani, so like they are two cultures in which, like, unfortunately there's a lot of kind of misogyny and there's like a real patriarchy to dismantle, as if there wasn't enough alone, you know, within the day-to-day in the UK. And, oh fuck, it's a battle. But I wrote this piece for my son. It's called Brown Boys. And it's about trying to raise him to be everything he can be and not what other people are trying to make him. You can't be different when you're brown. My son is told to hold his frown, to clench his fists and grit his teeth, to never show what lies beneath the surface. To hit first and talk later. Not to cry when he falls, to be good at football, have girlfriends at school, no discussion, it's just rough and tumble. To be a boy who turns into a man, his path was chosen before he could stand, he could not play with dolls. Given action then. Strong boys' colours like blue and red. He wanted to paint his nails like his sister, push dinosaurs in a pram. God forbid he play dress up, so don't tell him he can. He wants an earring, he can't till he's a man. Shoulder by shoulder with other brown boys he stands. You feed him your poison because you know that you can. Pass it on second hand through more than the 2 generations now born on this land. When hits fly to women and knuckles are bruised and you try to decide which toxicity you choose, and here hate breeds. Like the vermin left in the country or Daraji called home, and our son grasps at his anger and he's feeling alone. You say the power is yours, so he holds a job and degree. But what does it mean to protect him from the white man and protect his culture with racism and homophobia attacking like vultures identity of the motherland? Yet my voice is silenced. And all I can do is watch from the sidelines, but I will clench my fists and grit my teeth to allow my son his individuality. Son, your skin may be brown, but do not don the crown which will make you bleed. This is not what masculinity means. At 8, stand tall and act your age, and I will absorb those daggers with names like manly and strong and proud and brave. I will show you that this is not how you have to behave, with colours on your nails and dinosaurs in your pram and studs and shin pads and football shirts and laughing at fashion shows wearing dresses and skirts with cuddles and kisses. Unclench your fists, unfurl your jaw. My brown boy will not be sent out side by side with others to war. He will stand with his true sense of self. Unrivaled self-worth as he rough and tumbles in the dirt, and I will look at his smile with daggers in my back. Unwavering as his shield, I will not look back to the life I left behind when I chose to walk away. One foot on a new path with one which stays, and I will walk forever wherever his does lead. His path is different to his dad's, to me. And different is good, son, you will see. So together we stand, my brown boy and me. Yeah.
So on Wednesday, I went to Sony and did like a lunch and learn chat with them for LGBTQ plus History Month. And we got onto the subject of Section 28. And one of the panel questions was like, how did Section 28 impact you when you were growing up? And I really had to think about that, because does everyone know what Section 28 is?
No.
Okay, so essentially it was a bit of legislation that was brought in to say that you couldn't promote homosexuality. So teachers weren't allowed to talk about it, school clubs weren't, you know, it just wasn't a thing that was spoken about. And it was only repealed in 2004, right? So that's not that long ago. And even though I was probably about 9 or something when it was revoked, I was still being educated under the same people who were educating under this legislation. So again, it wasn't something that was discussed. So I just didn't know what being gay was, right? I just didn't know it was a thing. So this poem is called Silenced by Section 28. I knew I was different, long before I ever had the language for it. Without these words, I couldn't progress my thoughts and come to a meaningful conclusion about who I was. Instead, I was confused, because not being able to articulate it didn't make my experience any less. My inner monologue told me that something was wrong, but I couldn't represent my reality through speech. I was never taught. And even though I was academically advanced, I was silenced by the missing discourse. I tried to force it, and handpicked my primary school crushes based on who I thought was popular. If the other girls fancied him, then I would pursue him too, convinced that I would grow into it. Really, I just liked his haircut. And I could never tell my friends about it, but I had a crush on Jessica Rabbit. I thought they would think I was sick, so I kept it to myself and internalized my self-doubt until I started to question everything. If girls didn't like girls, then maybe I just wasn't meant to be one. So I desperately wanted to be a boy so I could like the things they liked without having to hide. I immersed myself in The Sims and used cheat codes just so I could wear men's clothes and create a family in my own vision. It was my little secret. And although I'd seen gay men on TV, they were no more real to me than Jessica was. They were flamboyant, fictional characters, and I was unsure if they really existed. Kind of like the 2 fairy unicorns, because my dad didn't act like Graham Norton. I discovered the word lesbian when I was 11. I was in year 7 and we'd found a Playboy magazine. It confirmed that I wasn't attracted to men, but I didn't have my own breasts yet, so I certainly wasn't ready to think about sex. But it did give me the language that I'd been so desperate to taste. I learned that gender and sexuality weren't mutually exclusive. And I'd eventually try some of the things I'd seen with my best friend Kim, totally naive to the things we'd have to face. Like how often our rights would be debated on the world stage and how they'd only just revoked Section 28. I was ashamed. Although holding hands felt natural with her, I'd never seen casual intimacy between 2 women before. She wasn't my first boyfriend, so I couldn't etch her initials onto the inside of my school planner or set a picture of us as my screensaver. Instead, her paragraphs were hidden in the depths of my Sony Walkman phone. I was in love for the first time. But I couldn't share the joy of this key moment with anyone, and I had to figure it out on my own. And this just shows that shielding children from the dialogue doesn't eliminate the experience. They can still feel something even if they can't speak on it. Our community aren't grooming them into coming out, we're simply giving them the language to find themselves. No amount of words will influence their preference, but arming them with the language gives their identity validity. Words are the clarity that conceptualize self-discovery, and babies will always cry before they learn the word for hungry. Thank you. This actually forms part of a wider conversation, I think, because there's this narrative that's perpetuating at the moment that kids are coming out younger, they're transitioning, they're changing their pronouns, all of this stuff. And for some reason, the gay community is being told that it's us that's like bringing this out of them. And I refute that, because they just have the language that we didn't when we were younger. And I don't know why anybody would want to deprive children from having a sense of identity and from knowing who they are, and for anybody to feel like me when I was growing up, right? And I was going to have a water. And I think this feeds into something else as well. Is that because I wasn't taught about queer relationships, right? I didn't know what to look for. I didn't know what a healthy dynamic looked like. We spoke about domestic violence, but it was always in the context of men, and you know, it's not just men that are abusers, right? I think we really need to get rid of that narrative. So this is a piece that I haven't done for a while. It's called House of Cards. I never knew which version of you I'd wake up with. So I became a morning person to try and placate you from the offset. Hand trembling as I stirred your first cup of tea, a milky plea for you to go easy on me. Spoon rattling against the china of the mugs we chose together when your mask was still up and I thought we were forever. My safe place, now one of danger, a house of cards harbouring a stranger. Predictable in your unpredictability, volatility, the new normal, accepting morsels. On the outside it was smoke and mirrors, but inside it was smashed mirrors and torn pictures when it didn't go your way. I was drowning whilst trying to save you like Jack did for Rose, a third-class passenger on a sinking ship of you, where you flirted with hurting yourself on more than one occasion in desperation if ever I tried leaving. A maven of manipulation, triangulation, tactics, gaslit. It was never your fault. I doubted my reality, questioned my sanity as you projected your insecurities onto me, told me I was crazy, forced me into therapy but forbade me from ever talking about you. It was always on your terms, punishment and reward, withholding affection, no accountability, deflection. Voicing my feelings only ever led to disagreements and an argument that would leave me recoiling from the velocity of your violence. I stayed because I thought I could change you, that one day I'd go back to stirring your tea without shaking. Mind trapped because I loved you, so comforted by all you afflicted. So much so like Stockholm Syndrome that when you cheated I still cried thinking that you'd abandoned me for a new victim. Thank you.
I decided to take the power back. And of course, it's never just that easy, but something in my head has switched. Triple somersault reverse culminating in a mental backflip because I spent so long being so ashamed. Walking around with a duffel bag of things I couldn't think about or say. Tripping over myself to keep them in. To protect the grievousness of your sins. Bursting out of me through cuts on my skin because if I wouldn't say it, trauma always finds another way to display it. But now, I'm taking the power back. And I know it might sound conceited, but I'm ready to step into my destiny and embrace the person I was always meant to be before all you could see of me was the damage that was done when I was too small to face the brutality of your attacks. Because there's nothing you can say that I haven't already heard or thought. So tear me down, rip at the safety I've installed, because I will just find my way back out of the dark, like I've been doing since the very start. But then I thought, well, why be good enough when you can be the best? Is it because you're afraid of failing, or are you more afraid of being a success? Do you ever imagine what the world would look like without you in it? Do you think about the people you have touched without ever even knowing it? Remembering that our reality starts with the words I am, so it's up to you to decide what you manifest with the language that you have. And me, I'm just offering you my reflection of the world as I've seen it. In the hope that it will inspire and act as some kind of beacon, because I might still shit myself every time I get up and perform, but 5 years ago, I wouldn't speak up in a crowded room. Because for years, I ate my feelings. And I hid myself under layers of flesh. In the hope that by making myself bigger, I'd make it easier to protect myself from the evils men like you circumvent. But in that shame, I buried the light that shone inside of me, thinking safer meant being less seen. But I refuse anymore to cower and hide. My sensuality is not an excuse for your crime. And if you want to come at me now and tell me how I look like a whore, tell me, how was I too provocative when I was only 6 years old? Monsters rarely look like monsters. Isn't that funny by design? Keep us both busy watching out for myths and stories while predators walk among us in plain sight. And I come here today with my fears all still intact, in the hope of making a connection through my words, till you can know me better for my acts. So, do you see me? Or do you still only see what you perceive to be true? Rabid wolves thirsty for blood were never interested in who it was who killed who. And even Yoda couldn't penetrate Anakin's projections he inflated to protect himself from the fears his mind fixated. But I'm starting to get the connections between my mind, my body, and my skin, which for years disassociated to avoid any kind of communication. But I'm ready to embrace the divine feminine that was beaten out of me by those afraid of a woman's sexuality. Because the goddess has been stirred, and she is restless to rise and leave behind those defenses she used before to hide. Because I'm a triple Aries, fire dragon, Celtic goddess, Pharaonic queen. So they have reason to fear the power that I conceal. Thank you very much.
It's so normal to me. This you inside of me. I love you, you love me. We're in this together.
From foolish lover to foolish lover, who long for thy foolish other's faithful kiss. Foolish are the dreams of foolish dreamers, who fooled around, oh faithful paramour. Foolish are the faithful whose faith flows fortuitously, fixated on a forever. Foolish lovers promised carelessly. Foolish are the tears falling from forlorn eyes, from fractured fiendish lovers, whose chances now run dry.
I cannot smell, but I need to breathe you in again, 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 and again. I cannot wait to see you again. We're in this together. We're in
now here as you mouth your sad goodbye, free from the fears that bind a foolish heart to a foolish mind. Foolish are the memories that a fool clings closely to, and in the aftermath of make-believe, as reality slips through. Foolish now the fantasies that fill the naive mind, mocking at those fairy tales who stole such precious time. But ah, my foolish love, how blind a fool you've been, to offer such wanton fairy tales to as big a fool as me.
Just like you used to be.
Woo! I'm so happy. Okay, how amazing was that from Callum? Woo! Alright, so anyone who knows me knows that I've got ADHD and I do a million things. One of which is I run poetics, and I've been doing a sideline to poetics with Callum, which is going to be sort of bringing poets and musicians together, so stay tuned for that. There's also some exciting stuff coming this summer from poetics. We also have been presenting a radio show on Voices Radio, which these two beautiful people in front here are on my first one, the very first one we did, which the Listen Again link is on my Kilha page. And I have an EP coming out. Okay, and after a year of performing it, She Can't Be Me is finally coming out this week as a single. Yes. The problems with being a perfectionist. So this is called She Can't Be Me.
First one, yeah?
Yeah. There's never time enough when a dream is over and you have to watch them fall asleep to the dreams of someone new. Laughing at the jokes you once told me when no one else existed inside this reverie, when love songs were created in the shade of your gaze. Juvenile fantasies innocent hearts crave. But I see you, and I know she can't be me any more than he can be you. Saturated in each other till we wrung each other dry, plastering over the cracks with naive platitudes such as love will conquer all and all you need is love, finger food of love's form. Just a collection of stardust cosmically attached, bewitched and believing we were the center of the universe, unable to acknowledge the truth. We were just the center of our universe. But like colliding stars, we exploded with the full force of creation or destruction. The union of Gaia and chaos. Oh, Mother, help us. We didn't just make love. We made tsunamis. A series of underwater volcanoes erupting in synchronicity to the will of Poseidon himself. We were Abelard and Eloise. We invented colour and redefined gravity. We soar through time and space and travel back in time to the place of our birth to experience our rebirth into this dream we call life. Enveloping each other, drowning each other, swimming against the currents, fighting against the riptides with only the other's hand reaching out for the other's hand to survive. Awaking adrift on the shores to the sounds of sirens screaming, pleading, run. Run before chaos makes a mockery of us all. So, hold her tight. Bring her right up to your chest. Breathe her in. Let her help you forget. For this love loves like only a lover who's held the other's trembling heart in the palm of their hands could ever truly understand love. And in your breath, breathe her in and let me go. Breathe in her peace in place of the torment and rage the love we once made. Raging bulls clash even in passion. Let her serenity quench your thirst. Let her flowers bloom in your fertile gardens, my fires left scorched. Let her love you, even though we both know she can't be me any more than he can be you. Thank you. And this final piece, Hunter's going to lead you all in a dance, aren't you, Hunter?
No, that's not true.
Okay, this last piece is off the EP, and I did it on Wednesday, and Hunter promised to get everyone up dancing. Didn't.
I just said yes, and then realised I had to deliver on it.
Alright, this last piece is a bit of a change of pace, and if you want to get up and shake what your mama gave you, I'm more than happy for you to do it. Alright, this is called, what's it called? It's called, this is called Mightier Than the Sword, and I was working under the title of Unbroken for the EP, but I had changed my mind at the last minute and decided to call it Mightier Than the Sword after this track. Alright, when you're ready, Meta. Play a bit louder. I tried to steal my thoughts, and yet my thoughts are here. They tried to take my creativity and control me through my fears. They tried to make me doubt myself and question what I believed. They tried to put their influence onto who I thought to be. And they tried. 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 They tried to take my energy by telling me I'm sick. But when your will is strong and you can't be bored, you're born ready for their tricks. They tried to distort my memories as I fought to keep them out. They dug their way into my mind while they saw me struggle with my doubts. was. But now I'm sure of all I am and the people I can trust. They tried to clip and tame me when I was halfway out the door. But they are those who just failed to see my pain is mightier than your sword. And they tried. And they tried. And they tried. They tried to take my voice. And yeah, my voice is here. They tried to divide and blind us, spreading confusion, mistrust, and tears. And they tried. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nathalia. Thank you, Milli Rose. Thank you, Tunay.
I just got registered the other day.
For what?
As an occupational therapist. The chair's going to make me cry. Yeah, but it took 3 years and it was just too much, and I can't believe that I got there and I'm going to have a career. And this was written in 2020, and it's like when you're becoming a therapist, you start to kind of therapize yourself, and I think this kind of came out of that also. I think it was lockdown, but yeah, congruency. I'm useless, I'm lazy, don't take care of my responsibility. It's slipping away out of sight where I can't tend to it any longer. So I need to fight back and take control, be accountable for personal mistakes. It's trial and error, it's a science thing. That's how knowledge grows. Make it into routine, then perfect it. The way I know what poisonous perfection is. Pride, it's all in the progress. You need to keep moving. Started from the bottom, now we're here. It's climbing the hierarchy of needs and knowing that you did it all by yourself. For yourself. It's a transformation, pushing past the barriers of your personal constraints, facing your demons, your fears, assessing it, and then taking that risk. Feeling like you're living out of yourself at times, but you are there. It's actually you reaching outwards towards your potential, reaching it. Make a difference and move on to the next. Mastering your skills like fire. Turning a masterpiece, mixing down a track takes time, and time is money, literally. Except change your mindset. Setting an alarm to monetize your experiences and value your time. Be congruent, connected, consistent, and conform. Not to society, but yourself true. Decolonize the mind, forget about belief. Say that you know. You know what you're good at. Own it. The realization that you have a strong mind, it's a muscle and it will be exercised. Mind over matter. It's the elephant and the rider. Elephant and the body is that body, and the rider is your mind. Use your metaphorical imagination, then self-actualized, you have realized. A single life is always more than you think. One thread in the tapestry. Interactions with people become fluid and you feel as though the ripple effect is in your control. I will not forget myself, never, because I am unforgettable. I am the creator of my life narrative, combining each essence of the truth, flowing between the emergence of relative and realistic entities in my world. Oh, I think that's it.
Yeah, go for it. You got 4 minutes.
These pages are really thick, so I don't know if it's like 2 pages or not. But I mean,
Yeah, it adds to the
and
ambiance.
this is a picture of like my daughter.
Oh, show it to the camera.
Yeah. Oh, what camera?
Oh, yeah. Yay! Oh, that's beautiful.
This one is called Social Stigma, and yeah, I'm just going to read it. Validating your burden, and it's heavy as it's handed over to your loved ones. The burden of guilt stays, dignity stripped away, no way to make a drop of lemonade, stigmatized, sensationalized, exploited in the worst way. Ripple impact through a life force, differently abled, thriving within a therapeutic healing environment, adaptive, not maladaptive, not backwards, forwards, what every human being needs. Make it work together, inclusive design we can all access, one world multiplied, multiple countries opened up, cultured hearts, boundaries, border, barriers down. Facilitating justice for all. Let go, above and beyond, but it's your individual mindset that counts. If we don't get you out there, you will never know the true love of an interabled relationship. Disability. This is from the society because the ability is there. A person in the flesh is a real person. A soul encapsulated within a human mammal vessel. The need to interact with the dynamic environment is highly demanding. It's adapted, then separated. We don't want to move with the majority. We can't. Anyone can be dissed out of the society, trapped to the person in a dark place, a person with an ability to live life to its fullest degree, thinking of the idea of equity over equality. Mathematics is complicated. As much as our racial, cultural, sexual, political, spiritual diversities, different abilities, we need to address this social justice movement. It's a human thing. Never exclude anyone. They are somebody's someone. We can't be whole until each heart that makes up the society is generated with an open mind, seeking clarity, thinking whole, together. We are the advocates. We are the people. We are the community for the natural human ways. A reincarnation of Mother Nature, breaking down geographical barriers as the best as we can. Facilitating a once broken spirit to once again dream and soar. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Meta. We have come a long way.
We've come a long way.
I mean, like, when we go to these nights, it's proper family, and thank you so much for this opportunity, and I feel like this night we've echoed a lot of each other's words, and it's like human words recycled, and we're just it's all love. So thank you so much.
Neelofer Nova, poetry. N, 10, 10, and if you're a king, then please fix your crown when you're talking to a queen.
Say it again.
Say it again.
If you're a king, then please fix your crown when you're talking to a queen. Fuck your poetry. I'd rather listen to the voices in my head. Fuck your ego and your so-called street cred. What's a pauper to a prince? What's a portion to a chef? Don't get it twisted. Some of us make it look easy, but the mind must be nourished so the soul can flourish. Your opinion is not my fact, and if you lack decorum, then I can lack tact. Let's rewind it back. So you try hiding, but I see you through the cracks. The truth is always revealed to the real. Integrity has to be part of the deal. You're offering a snack, but I came for a meal. The truth is, you could never replicate an original. I will always be me, now and forever, and the truth is I don't care enough to play your game. We may be equal, but we will never be the same. Acting brand new in a game you never started, didn't work on the art form, just half-hearted. By the true greats this was founded. One love to my dearly departed. You never knew about us 80s kids. Grew up playing on pavements, knew about real codes, and ode to the BMX and skipping ropes. We never lived stuck behind a screen. We ran, we chased, we sang songs, drank
Cherry 7-Up grazed our knees, tried to climb trees, spit washed dirty cheeks. Reusable nappies, homemade lemonade, one pot that fed many. A grandmother's love that carried many, that's why it just isn't any someone or something that can distract me from my goal. I have evolved many times over. In this one and in past lives. See, my purpose lies with the elder spirit guides. It was all learnt in an old school world. People who have small worlds worry about small things. Very different to the weight of the world on one's shoulders. Big minds contemplate concepts, not people. Philosophy is debated. Reasoning with tribal leaders. Everything now seems petty in comparison. The days of epic times when tongues created hurricanes, when words blew storms, and now people get their kicks from Twitter wars. Wipe the blackboard clean, write in chalk. In fact, etch it in stone. Stand by your word. This is the era of the lost tribe of gentlemen, the warrior queens, single mothers raising generations. Leave it all in the peripheral and keep it all subliminal. Take all the sugar from my bowl. If I'm going to be blue, I'd rather be a darker hue of truth. Time's a concept that escapes me. The faster it goes, the more I want it to slow down. So the opportunities to make memories is more precious to me than the race to obtain more things. I left my ego in a place I've long forgotten. I yearn for the yesteryear where emotions and manners counted for something. Old school values have all but disappeared. A time when posting for likes didn't exist. When social media wasn't a thing because a selfie could never show you my true self. Just like your curated timeline tells me nothing of your soul. How many times do I have to tell you I'm an analog girl in a digital world? Reality TV has us losing our concept of realistic scenes, so out of touch with communication because we are too busy displaying our agendas. There are leagues and there are levels. There are energies and vibrations, and see, I can only associate with the elevated because the rest is all spitwash. Spitwash, actually. Does anyone know what spitwash is? No. That's why I said anyone born before 1990 will relate. So it's like when your mum went. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you want to try the other mic?
Anyone ever been in a situation where you never get the answers that you want? And this thing called closure is something we've become very obsessed with of recent times. So this piece is called Q&A. I waited through a very long winter just to taste the spring. Needed you to be a shelter from the storm, needed you to get wet in the rain with me. Instead, I realised you saw me as a shelter and the safe place I needed, I ended up being for the both of us. Ended up breaking down my walls to build you up. Gave you my love and didn't keep enough in reserve, needed to let go and be caught, needed a dark room, I needed to scream. Waited forever for something real. Needed you to try. Needed you not to steal my joy. Needed you to tell the truth. Instead you spent too long howling at the moon. Fascinating how we become so good at hiding our pain. We start to transform pain into art and expect the beauty of that art to cleanse the trauma. But in the end, I protected the piece by painting a picture. See, even colouring by numbers can leave you with blank spaces. And you drew a line and couldn't get out of your own way on a journey to find my peace of mind somewhere. I lost my mind, too many delays relying on paper planes. You just had to look me in the eyes for all the clues, for all the questions in you that crave the truth. If this was a game, you never played fair. My mind unravelled into shreds of ribbon, no longer in flight. I kept searching, but home wasn't in you. I tried to make a home with you. Instead provided a house for you to lay your head, left my plans on unread on the other side of the bed with an ocean between us. Paper boats don't float for long. Nights apart, yet next to each other. See, the maths just didn't add up. I was never any good at complicated equations. I just wanted genuine emotions. But see, you couldn't even manage 2 + 2 because it would have required a semblance of the truth. All the red flags got lost in my blind desire to make it work. See, sometimes second chances can be your destruction. I should have known better, right? But see, we love by faith, not by sight. Seeped under my skin, held you inside my every temple, fingerprints on my soul. Dusted for prints when you went missing from the promises you couldn't keep. Didn't want to face up to the charges, so answers kept changing. Simple questions with complicated answers. If pretty was a person, it wouldn't be you. See, because you stole beauty from the truth. You took a wholesome love and made it half, weakened it so. I wonder why you left me in the danger zone, broken and alone. Did you find heaven in the 15th cigarette you smoked that day? In the 6th lie that you spun that week? How does one convince fragility that a broken heart can be mended when you never bought the right tools? How bad can it get before a woman has to leave a man? And how many sad songs does he sing before she has no reasons left to cry? Use the haze as your disguise, but it always comes out in the light under the Mexican sun or on a cold London night. See, you can't escape what is right there. The thing that isn't there. The words didn't stand up to action. That love and sorry are just words to someone who doesn't appreciate the value of words. Balance my sanity on a knife's edge, tied up in knots of tension, placated by half measures, thinking it could be pieced together, but one hand can't clap. The dog will always eat your homework. You will always forget to make the right choice, and we are cut from a very different cloth, see, because hate will never win in my house. Yes, this is my house. I would have put all your things in a box to the left, but you never brought anything to the table. So you had already taken everything you could with nothing to offer in return but excuses, so you left with everything you came with, which was nothing. You left giving no answers, but see, it's funny. Just like I had to do everything else on my own, I took the initiative to survive. So I found them now. I've got all the answers I need to this Q&A. Thank you.
So yeah, I'm gonna do 2 poems. One is an abecedarian, which is basically an alphabetically ordered poem, so each sentence is alphabetically ordered. So I have memorized it, but I'm just gonna keep it in case.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. A lullaby to tend to those tired eyes, because today you are not okay. Can't keep composed any longer, doing everything to stay afloat. Doesn't work on eve of afternoons when the sun is not shining, and the only warmth you feel is the fire burning inside of you, and it heats up every nook and every cranny of your life. Ideally, it will settle just before the dawn of a new day, so keep the eye of the tiger more on yourself than on others, not to become egotistical, but to surrender to a higher power. Only way out is through going within. Perhaps you will struggle quite often in the beginning, but remember that there is beauty in the struggle, because that is how you will find that your reality is yours to create, to hone in on and to cultivate. Use the variety of this time to remind you that we are in this together, like xenographs taken from one member of a species and moved to another to produce a better combination. You and I together could be just like that, with a zest for life. Okay. Okay. So the next poem is basically a few things I'm in awe of. This was kind of like an exercise that I did, just kind of like looking at, I guess, your everyday items that you have, or like everyday maybe rituals that you do, and like, I guess, trying to like see the beauty in them rather than just thinking of them as routinely things. So yeah. I am in awe of prayer, how someone or something is listening, even if it is just me. This life inside of me is being tended to somehow, no matter how disoriented my thoughts can be. This is the place where I can express desires in forms still unmanifest, and all past memories tied to hearts that I don't speak to anymore. I am in awe of my Himalayan salt lamp, the undefinable shape that it possesses, its low-key tendency to benefit me positively. How the negative ions produced by these salt crystals can actually help soothe inner turmoils. How the fire shines through the cracks like the light found at the end of a tunnel. After years of starvation, I can breathe once again. I am in awe of mangoes, the sweetest fruit of nature that reminds me of my motherland. I say motherland because that is where my mother is from. A place that does not contain much for me anymore, except for these mangoes that taste like honeysuckle and childhood, a deeply woven memory that is so limited in quantity now. As growth dawns upon me and stretches in the open, I go back to my roots under the mango tree.
Another year without you. Wiping the slate, making memories of people, both old and new. I have got used to a life where I don't wake up to a drunk call or morning text, receiving messages that leave me confused, frustrated, perplexed, unable to understand, read between your lines of your complex mind. I'm stranded, unsure how to proceed, sitting with feelings that exhaust me of my energy. I need guidance. I'm torn, choosing in between, choosing peace versus repeating history, misery about the company, toxicity is my drug of choice, ticket to stay alive, because what is life without chaos? Yes. Another year marking the absence, the loss of who I thought I was, mirroring everything I saw, ignoring the fundamental flaws of which you showed to the world. I found peace in the violence. Without you, there is nothing to clasp onto. A tiny shred of hope exists amongst the silence I have been left to contend with. Another demon to fight until one of us falls, caves in, propels the end of our story, except it is unwritten because they always come back. I can't keep living this way, playing prisoner, bound by the shackles and chains. You had everything to gain because I thought bending over backwards, sacrificing myself would be the antidote for my pain. If love is a currency, I'll be living well above my means, sitting comfortably in the delusion, romanticizing the crumbs you gave me, because we both know the reality deep down that the truth was never good enough. A deep impression you imprinted and left in my future. One less person I have, your name, your memory locked into pictures. My body, my mind protect me from the remains of our story. A new chapter without you. Now the only love I am seeking is closer to home, deeper than anyone can provide, one I must craft as my own, the me I am supposed to become, aspire to be. Break away, set myself free, banish clouds of sadness, letting light back in, destroy the darkness, undo the damage. All I have to do is take off those rose-coloured glasses. Thank you. at the last kind of open mic night I went to, but I chickened out. But I thought tonight, it's 2023, we're moving bigger and braver. This one's called Cyclical. Looking for my next high. The answers to my questions at 3 AM, asking myself why. How have I ended up here again? Darkness is my vice, satiates the cravings, filling my empty supply. The friend who answers the phone morn, noon and night. The hand to hold when the blood in my veins run cold. The lesson to learn when I don't follow the script I have been told. My family and my friends don't understand. They won't ever get it. Try to tell me, but I block it out, I don't listen. Hang up the phone, another goodbye that brings me closer to home. Loneliness and depression lighten the fire of self-destruction. I ignore the danger because I don't need to be rescued, because I'm not alone. Peace and tranquility work in tandem to fight a battle when no one wins. Too self-aware to help, but not enough to break the cycle that I perpetuate myself. Growing tired of fighting instinct, catching my breath, beating heart, attacking my chest, working overtime, no time to rest, no time to restart, hell to get up the carousel that never stops. Cries of please don't deter me from crossing the lines, following signs down one-way roads. I'm in control, in the driver's seat, where I belong, finding my way back home. Thank you.
Haters thrive on targeting those with a free mind. Greedy, needy for your energy, remind you of your past. They love to press rewind. Feeds on negativity, that's what builds up their mind. Pride for the narrative they have formed to make themselves feel whole. Egotistical, blowing themselves up with what feeds their soul. Soulless, hunt on those who are soulful. They don't get why I build myself up, what helps me find my soul's food. Dangerously in love with you. I see your beauty whilst you see how I can make your life better for you to feel your ego. Not knowing for you I'm just a tool. Their natural instinct is to steal from you, to take your gift and feed it to themselves. Only take and never give. Take your energy and shift it through a sieve. A sieve they create to pick and choose from. This is what we call a narcissist. Picking and choosing when to build you up, when to celebrate your wins if it benefits them. If they don't receive anything from your favour, they'll choose to dig you deep and make you frown. To feel the hurt they feel because you haven't given them the hit they feel they deserve right now. And you, a true lover, not giving any energy to another, but your narcissist partner, your other half, your better part, your partner in love. But now you need to free yourself like a dove. Purity seeps through you and that's what they cling on to. They see in you a light that can't be dimmed. They challenge you to be as soulless as them, a ferocious djinn. Demonic love, heartless thug, charming to all except those close to them, those who they love to hold and hug. When they try to control you, remember yourself and your truth. It's easy to fall for them when it feels like it's a deal for two. Just understand it's only a game to them. They used to win a respect they long for, so they fake a persona for you to get by. They build you up and break you down. A game only they enjoy, but when they lose, they'll play victim. So remember your light, it can't be dimmed. See your truth. You need to give yourself you. Fill yourself with the love you long to give them. Just see you are more than their game, where they create a space for themselves in society. It's not hard to see that a lot of them are men, hiding behind a patriarchal game, where status is more important than genuine respect and love. Fuck society and go find you. What soul food you need to get by this life, this world, this time right here, that we only have one try, not two. It's hard, but I got you. I'll help you see your light when you can't. A narcissist is only as strong as the energy you give them. Ignore them and see them wither, see them tremble and beg for your light. Ignore them, delete them, block them out of your life. Trust me, I've been there, it's not worth the stress. Fuck them if they're lame. A narcissist won't Ignore them and see them wither, see them tremble and beg for your light. Ignore them, delete them, block them out of your life. Trust me, I've been there, it's not worth the stress. Fuck them if they're lame. A narcissist won't win. Don't listen to their hiss, the way they exist, you're better than this.
You got 4 minutes, so you can do another one, yeah.
Cool. So I've got another one called Simon and Hose. So you can see what's coming out of me when I was in Pakistan. I was like, fuck everyone, you're all pricks. I'm just going to write a poem about you and just live my life.
That's why I never fuck with the lyricism.
I'll fuck for it.
So, for you, Simon and Hose, making me feel like I'm wrong, just getting to know.
Say that again. Say it again.
For you sidemen and hoes, making me feel like I'm wrong just getting to know you on an equal plate, but what you want to pay with your romantic slate, making me feel like I need to give you my heart, soul and body for saying a quick hello. Your insecurities making you just question why I'm in your space. So you judge me and think I'm ready to mate. Make game to the left and find the exit gate. Because I'm tired of being called flirty just for making a joke that's a bit dirty. Me calling you fine is not a sign of me wanting to date, so slow down and just wait. Get to know I ain't trying to present my mating call. I'm just a 3-year-old soul who can appreciate good combo and your beauty without pulling down the line to being fruity. And you watch as outsiders. Judge me and make all my interactions your business. Well, get this. I am just talking, getting to know, wanting to enjoy a social convo. So take your listening ears far from me, because you don't get people like me. We are sewn from a different cloth, where we don't let our insecurities win, or even make other business be a part of our inner. We believe in inner elevation of self, not discovering your health, your wealth, your who, what, where, when, why. We are open and want to be a better version of we, so we don't flee from the beauty of life we are blessed to see. So before you question why I am the way I am, why don't you question why do you care to know instead of caring about your own? Instead of sitting in your mind trying to be satisfied by the lies you tell yourself and fill your ego with, and when you're rejected, you're compelled to call us a bitch. What a stitch. And when you're rejected, you're compelled to call us a bitch. What a stitch. I get from laughing at your misguided styles. You sidemen and hoes get sad when you're called a bro. Mindful with sexual desires. Instead of believing we have our own minds and lives, sidemen and hoes are the biggest liars.
Wagwan.
Wagwan.
Wagwan. General. Wagwan was one of my first words. It's not hard. Okay. I'm quite detached from life. I'm a visual artist. I mostly just make art and I watch The Sopranos. So I just want to say that all of you did a really good job today. You're all teachers to me, and thank you for teaching me.
You're going to teach us now.
So yeah, I'm going to do a little Russian doll. One big, one medium, one small.
Cool.
If you're not loved, I'm sorry. I don't care that I don't care. I'm preoccupied with my own hypersensitivity. Are you a high-class hooker queen, or are you a narcissist? I smile at you, but my eyes say, I hate your soul. My anger overtakes me, so I totally let go and detach myself from this burning unknown. You cut and hurt and upset, but these raw materials are whatever was left. And I'm sure that they were purchased with intent from a market so fresh. A fresh copy, a new press, something real, not sabotaged yet. Illusions permanently cloud my eyes, easier than looking, hard and searching far and wide for the words of true feeling. Articulation and contemplation overshadowed by frustration. If I cover my head and shroud my face, will all identity become erased? And what of the fate of the inner child, volatile, however sweet or mild? If he had a brick, he would throw it hard. Who knows if he would regret the scar? Pain inflicted for personal judgment, fragile heartstrings roughly strung. Did I always subscribe to the belief that bad, sad, mad feelings just disappear or live in fear of my shadow self, with envy ingrained in success and person bets and a future guess? How soon will an infidel overstep? And why look at friends this way? The enemy has come to play. How long do I have to keep secret sadness in tar heaps, suffocated and sealed shut with pain-piercing bruised up guts? For my own sake, to remain unjudged, or for your sake, don't want to hurt your heart, or be the symbol of victim joy, forever used to envoy and send forth that pity sympathy, some kind of vain infamy, and none of it will take the pain away. I think it's better to tell the page. You can't express, won't be affected,
by vicious internal unrest. Some barely thought out poetry can't cut your teeth or make you bleed. Just scroll this feed like it's someone else. I'm Frank's little novel self. A thing that was deigned to suffer, found the good in love undiscovered. Always praying, remaining human, until rigor mortis is on its way in. I'm just a little problem child. Cry, 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 cry. This one's called Fortunes. That's where I'm comfortable. When I'm not supercharged and panicked or fluttering, when I'm not where I am or who I'm with, even when I'm not active, in that mystery, or consciousness. The multitude of addicted to exercise electron satellites, pulsing all over everything that ever was. Positive, neutral, minus, and when you break it down, is nothing, at least sometimes. We are living in a time where we can still choose what we believe. Altogether true, but my recorded words are at least as half honest as they can be. I have realized that I sometimes have no choice but to trust. Which I think, but I'm not sure, has been serving me both well and too well. Which recreates doubt. Doubt, trust, the dichotomy. Is there a neutral in-between feeling there also? Do I say or do I not say? Do I trust or do I not trust? Or do I never trust again? Thought and doubt, negativity, is not the mental companion for comfort. These so-called negative electrons, are they really negative or did we just mix it up? I still haven't chosen what to believe, which is, they say, the problem about me. Teachers have been helping me, help myself. No one can control you but you. I is I. Do you understand what I mean by this? You are a super being, even if just for a moment at a time. Mezzo morto, half dead. You remind me of the zombie in ice, indifferent to condition or sacrifice. Luck in the paradigm, fate for circumstance, so many fortunes. It's called Streams of Blood and Tears. Shall we just give up on this, babes? Every time I get close to the sea, there's no waves. Am I scared of falling in or of what's inside? An ocean of creativity and I'm deprived. There's rhythm in my hands but I can't feel it. Slip my under eyes so I start weeping. Build of static, skin of fire. I'm afraid I'm about to expire. I've been thinking about death a lot lately, knowing no one's coming to save me. I'm just a kid in the park with a pen in my hand. At night there's no difference between water and sand. Am I growing? Do I really expand? Sticking like glue, pearl in the clam. Me swimming next to me, stars in my tears, embers in my irises, acid in my fears. Sometimes it's too clear, or too grey, or too silver. Dead wood, splinters, metal, water.
First of all, happy birthday, Swagger. Okay, I'm going to talk over this, but this will make sense in a second. And big up Meta. Yeah, I need to keep this in. We could go on, but I won't. Like I said, I just sometimes. Okay, so this piece is actually, okay, so I do need to give some context. This is 6 minutes, but I'm going to use like a minute to give context. Because, so I have been performing for a long time, and a lot of the time I've been doing, well, I just do poetry, to be honest. I do write short stories, but I don't really, I don't perform them, because who's going to want to sit there and listen to me do a whole short story? I decided to make you guys listen to me do a whole short story. And so this started when I started this when I was like 14, and I finished it like a year ago, and the only place I shared it is Tumblr, because that's where I started sharing poetry, and I don't give my Tumblr to like anyone ever, it's a secret, but my friend had it, she read it, she loved it, and I think I'm finally like ready to share this. I love it. I don't know why I'm doing it. And it's called Secret Gardens of the Soul.
When you were a kid.
A kid?
Okay. Okay. And the first. Okay, yeah. It's called Secret Gardens of the Soul. A series of, and yeah, it's just one long piece. So yeah. Okay. A series of discoveries, part 1. It began when the sun rose again each day, the light streaming over the earth and touching each corner, filling the world with her love. The sun lived a lonely life, reaching out for the earth but missing him. You see, when the earth rotated around the sun, she felt his power and strength. They tried to grasp each other, but they never quite reached. They were always looking but not touching. Yet the sun used her powers of hope and intensity to send her love through her rays. The earth was lit up no matter how he span, the light touching and spreading all over him, making him burn up like the fire she emitted. And so the earth and the sun reached over like this, and it was through their heart-wrenching love that the earth's inhabitants also found what it meant to love. And the inhabitants will love each other the way she wishes she could love him, through touches, kisses, words. A series of discoveries, part 2. The moonlight shone down across the clearing, hitting and lighting up everything in its wake. The rocks shone an iridescent glow, and if he stared for too long, he was sure he would go blind. The lake glistened under the glare of the moonlight, a series of blues and blacks swirling with every turn of the wind. He looked at the strange pixie boy jumping on each sparkling rock, and with every jolt of his foot, a jolt accompanied his heart. I have decided to start living my life differently. The pixie boy turned to him and gave him a smile, as bright as the smile the moonlight gave the earth. The stars were extra bright tonight, shining and illuminating everything, yet he thought it was funny that the brightest thing here was the strange boy. He smiled up at the pixie boy and asked, "How so?" "I am only going to do the things I want to. Never again will I do something I do not wish." He laughed as if this idea was as bright as his silver hair. The boy looked at him and wondered why the letters falling from his tongue, forming sound, made sense. How strange it was to be captivated by this boy the same way the stars are captivated by the night. With thoughts swirling around his head, realization shone upon his heart. The realization that to exist and dream is enough. Never again will he do something he does not wish to. A series of discoveries, part 3. "You've got so little time left," he whispered. "Why are you trying so hard to please everybody else?" "I'm not," he retaliated. But what was the point? This pixie boy could see straight through him. His heart was aching. With every glance, his soul was torn apart, little by little. Falling in love wasn't supposed to be like this. He had read about it in stories. It was stardust and fireflies and letting the vast blue sea swim over you. Yet when he looked at the pixie boy, it was thorns and fairy dust and the harsh cold wind seeping through his bones. The pixie boy lay down on the ground, his silver hair fanning out beneath him like a ripple in the sea. He smiled at him, but his eyes were glistening. "I only wish good things for you, better than what I have. If only life was simpler." He wanted this pain in his heart, this lump in his throat every time he saw this wonderful boy to be gone. His discoveries were obvious now. What was worse? The loneliness of having no one to hurt you, or the pain of letting someone in? The window doesn't have the same emotions anymore. Staring out the window didn't have the same emotions. The sky was an ocean, the birds were melodious, their songs swimming into his ear and flowing through his apartment. And the air tasted like the morning grass that the boy used to lie with him. But the window didn't have the same emotions. Here the boy was again, the same thoughts making fragments in his head, and he was still the same emotionless mess. Every day ticked the same clock since he left. Thoughts of him plagued the boy's mind as his eyes floated over the greens and blues and browns, but all he saw was silver. Those silver eyes, that silver hair falling onto a pale forehead, creating a halo. He always had that effect on the boy, an illuminating essence that pierced the deepest part of the boy's soul. He could still feel his heart racing, the flush of him a stark contrast against the pure, pale skin he always breathed next to. Remembering every emotion, every feeling broke him into tiny little pieces. He was still finding those pieces. If only he could help. He was always better at seeking the lost. That's what he had done for the boy. His memory only serves to remind him of the way he felt, every inch of his soul fitting into the boy. One odd sensation, to find the last piece of the puzzle and then lose it just as quickly. He was like a breeze, sweeping the boy off his feet, or the ocean tickling his feet, washing over his ankles, creating sensations that kept washing afresh, always anew. A silver ebony of butterflies and warm tea and eyes that fall into each other as pulses quicken and skin heats up. The boy stared out the window. All he sees is silver. All he tastes is tears. All he feels is fog. The window has lost the freedom it had. The window doesn't have the same emotions. A series of discoveries, part 5. He found it strange. After so long, here he was. So much had changed. Yet the boy still had the same glistening silver hair, the same crinkled smile that caused butterflies to erupt within him. What a strange way to coexist. Yes, strange. The pixie boy's voice sounded far away, like he was hearing it inside a vacuum, an echo of an echo. Small talk eluded these two boys. There was no point in uttering words that were better left unsaid. Rather, these boys were better with whispering words of enchantment, looks that perfectly captured what they meant. Instead, the pixie boy inched closer to him, as if he would break the ground beneath them into an open, vast crack if he stepped too quickly. The pixie boy hesitated, and for the first time in his existence, he saw how vulnerable someone could be. The sparkle in his eyes he'd mistaken for stars were really uncertainty and worry. He knew that if he did not close the gap between them, the distance would be too far to climb again. So he stepped forward, removing the space that existed between them, and then gave him exactly what he needed. Arms reaching out slowly and unsteady, he embraced the pixie boy as if letting go meant falling down an abyss that was never ending. And this is how they stood, for what felt like eternity. Close but still so distant, loved but still so lost. Yet for the first time since the earth had started turning, a new emotion was brought to the surface.
My poetry began as a phone engagement. Even as a novice, they noticed it was plain to see how I spit fire. To those amazement I inspire. I was kind of flow complacent, but still making statements. Even as I look back, the receipts still signal. I began as a fire type, this fire type to make the fire work, and then the fire started. This heart sparked and charged up where words spawned from the ashes of my past trauma. The crowd appreciated my life burns. They love drama. I began to evolve in pen, little gains, surprising when I began to propane through raps. I'm shelling, thoughts compelling from what I was telling, stories foretold through daily habits, ignited tongue, multi-syllabics, sprouting hot wings. My reach is drastic, a human torture to thought. You know that I'm that shit. A spiritual confession like a gas leak. I must preach, spreading worldly issues and awareness like I CO2, hoping the thoughts can.
Hey. Go back. Reload the segment.
Spiritual confessions like a gas leak, I must preach. Spreading worldly issues and awareness like I CO2. Hoping the crowd connects is what my thought projects. Like the Wi-Fi, I'm high fire every time a lyrical flame throws the system. You didn't know you caught fire till a hotline crossed the mind and you missed them. But I guess my truth doesn't affect every system. That's the short end of it. Thank you. This is not a diss track. Unrequited love, I'm just talking about a mismatch. I thought I could find love in the workplace, the place where I always dispatch. Now I'm pen and paper saying, how on earth did I miss that for she? I figured it'd be along the same track to life. My whole intention was to try and find a wife, but I could only fathom why she could be this strict. Because every guy she meets wants her to pick a dilly or run a special private service. Always having to retrain or rebuild her mindset on guys, but there's always a mindset. But I only wanted to encircle her central line of thought. But any approach became a weekend closure. Even though she was up north and I was down east, I did everything I could to make the Thames link. Even when matters on the brink are still dark and light dear to me. Matters are only severely delayed, but I didn't want it to be severely dismayed. Because she seemed like the Queen Victim on tourist day. You know the Jubilee. And like the Elizabeth line, she seemed like the heart to my London eyes. So I was surprised when I had to accept the ladies from a metropolitan lady like she's from the overground. having to interpret the mixed signals of no connection like she's underground. But you know what? As I look back, it's not how you interchange, but how you interact.
Yeah.
Sometimes the king crosses the wrong king's way and you start barking his flag. I only reminisce the fact. But I had that angel on my star lane for so long, man. She was running through my temple. Drive. She was running through the wet works, and wet works. Every time I was going through the wet works, I was sitting on the back, and I managed to manifest my own Waterloo. I tried to map her heart proved difficult when I tried to navigate her, but that's life. Sometimes this train of life, we roller coaster along the same train, intertwined in the same carriage, aligned different platforms, and depart in separate ways.
I feel like I'm always a breath of fresh air for others, but I never get to exhale. Blink of an eye in another situation should have set sail. Choose me in my entirety. You're avoidant, I'm insecure, it triggers my anxiety. Make me your priority. I want to be the air you breathe like O2. Your main squeeze and your go-to. Supposed to, but I don't feel safe here. I almost replaced you as my Lord and my Saviour. I worshipped you, worked with you, loved you, hurt with you. I'm going to sit down. Your pain was my pain, and you said I felt like home. My heart was your home, but that home is now broken. Can't believe I fell for the words you had spoken. I don't buy dreams, but you wrap them with your fancy lies, and your big brown eyes made me feel like there's no way this is pretense. Let's not pretend you love me. No superhero, but I saved your life. Could have been your all, could have been your wife. I'm not usually cocky, but if heaven were human and angels were real, then truly I had fallen like head over heels. Fallen angel, risen demon, we weren't meant to be. The lessons you taught me, I was meant to see. I was meant to feel. I'm not a pillow fluffer, I was not just a space to fill. A safe haven is a place of protection, but you stopped making me feel secure. Sneaking through your phone like, why'd I have to do that for? Because you love me not. I don't ever feel stable when we're horsing around. How can friendship transform into something so profound? Auditioning to be your girl, but you ain't even all that. Sitting up at 2 AM and waiting for the callbacks. If you can't stand the heat, get the hell out of my kitchen. Scrolling through iMessage, decoding messages that are cryptic. I give to you, you take from me, it's almost parasitic. How do we fix this? Lurking lover, leeching on me because of lust. Longing, lost girl, hopelessly romantic and in love. I'm tripping because this 1942 dug up all the thoughts I thought I had swept under the rug. Now I'm drunk texting, drunk calling you, please pick up, come pick me up. Staring at my phone waiting for you to hit me up. On my way you say, then reality hits. Scrolling through our shared album, that's reality flicks. In the car listening to 50, you said I'm heaven sent. You kissed me and I smell your Chanel blue, yeah that's heaven sent. Love and hip hop, I laugh at how I run it. Shifting on my seat like plates that are tectonic. Cause like a volcano, I don't know when you erupt. And gaslight, I hide in your hands right after you threw rocks. Like truly, does he love me or does he love me not? Am I the rose without thorns you just happen to pluck? Or a dandelion slowly drifting away? Will I end up leaving or maybe I should sit here and stay? Cause I want to be your sun in your system that's solar. The cup you pour into when your mind's running over. Like a tissue, I'll absorb the racing thoughts of the one I adore. My love and care in lieu of worry is the formula, my amour. But I'd like to get off this whirlwind romance because I'm getting seasick. I trust you, you break me, then I pick up the pieces. Please, it's enough. This isn't love. Same script, same plot, just a different place. But I'll give you credit for the new edition, it's a different babe. But this is out of control, no more girls allowed. I'll excuse myself because truly frees the crowd. And though you came back changed after our hiatus, after loads of thinking, reminiscing, decisions and debating, I've decided to set you free. But I don't care if you come back to me as I don't think it's meant to be. And there's beauty in loving someone from a distance. Letting them go even though you may miss them. And maybe you'll work out and maybe you won't. But the love from a distance is still there if you don't. Because sometimes proximity breeds disrespect. Yes, sometimes over familiarity breeds contempt. Contempt is a weapon of the weak and a defense. Contempt in a relationship is the kiss of death. You think I'm beneath you, yet I go above and beyond. I see it in the way you treat me and the way you respond. And my love's not half-hearted, see my love fills you up. My love knows no bounds, but my love had to stop. Because my trust had been broken and trust is like mirrors. You can break it, remake it, and it will still glimmer. It will still reflect, but it won't be the same. It won't come as freely as it once came. And things that don't come freely come with a cost. Sometimes I regret that our paths even crossed. But the lessons you taught aid in what feels like a loss. I hold all our secrets in my Pandora's box. But don't come looking for the key because I've changed the locks. So I keep my song inside like a bird that is humming. You know the lyrics and we know the truth. Dear no one, this is my letter to you.
We embraced our shadowy desires, even as the silvery moon swallowed the night with its luminance. I was 21 and in a strange land, and she was young, beautiful, her Ghanaian ebony smile, hugging the dark with its allure and charisma. Our emotions danced in the intense silence of the night, even as the stars shone vibrantly with the joys of our encounters, twinkling on high, shooting messages with flares for Andromeda to celebrate the artistic arias of her rhythms. In the quiet hush of this wintry night, we blanketed in our nakedness with the warmth of her fiery breath, whispering I love yous to the engaging elements. She saying, me do, wo papa, je t'aime, yo te quiero mucho, na kupenda sana. I love you so much. Our hearts enfolded in delight. Long and difficult was the journey, painful was the agony of separation. But now we merged our warmth in the stillness of the night, and our breaths rushed with desires encountered. Senses heightened, we embrace into an affinity of nights and moons, nuestro amor, our love smelling of scarlet roses, adorning the floral aesthetics of the room's ambience. My sweet Nubian queen, you're the spinning carousel of my happiness. Discarding inhibitions in darkness, we became lost in our Garden of Eden, wrapped tightly in stifling air, even as time faded. We going beyond horizons to previously unknown delights. So many colors in our memories. The salmon hue of rainbows, the lapis lazuli of the silver sky, sunsets mesmerizing crimson, and even the glorious nebulae blanketing our curves with a canopy of light. Who says there is no melody in rhythm? Our bodies dance as if seduced by the bewitching notes of the Songs of Solomon, fingers and psalms perusing everywhere, painting calligraphy in the heat of our passions, more sublime than Egyptian princesses. Our pace, slow, deliberate, teasing, picks up, drowned only by the jasmine aroma of our chocolate labors, glint in our eyes. We smile alluringly as Marvin's Hagamos el amore esta noche, let's make love tonight, resonates in tempo to our tempestuous shadows. Mirando a través de las ventanas de mi casa. The heavens covered our darkness. We blend into the dawn like sunrise does to daybreak, seduced into revealing our silhouettes by the allure of spicy and turbulent cravings. Way into the corridors of our intentions, I played with the olive gleam of a melanin tone as we merged, breath kissing breath, saying everything, speaking nothing. Now I can smell our flames of emotions to the brim in this our timeless moment of love. Not so long ago, doubt affected my ability to ascend, and love's mountains seemed too rugged, too steep to climb. So I remained at the bottom, dripping the pains of misery and despair. Ahora, la gracia del amor, I'm on the ascendancy, and the sweet breeze of redolent oils in which we bathe here takes us into what was once unfamiliar territory, known only to the goddess Venus. I know that the perennials has covered us with genius. For esta noche, we are creative artists exploring the dizzies of heights. Thank you so much.